and welcome back to yet another exciting week of the Lazy Money Game. In this week's episode, I will start by giving an update to my portfolio, and afterwards I will look closer at the topic of asset management and the difference between asset management and wealth management. So let's start with a portfolio update. The first thing we immediately notice is that there's a green circle for this week's episode, meaning that the portfolio is up in value compared to last week. But since I did not publish any video last Sunday, let's go and take a closer look at the portfolio values tab. Because I actually did note the value of the portfolio last Sunday, and there I was supposed to have a green circle as well. So now it's 2 weeks in a row where my portfolio has increased in value. And just as a funny side note here, my portfolio has actually increased in value this week, despite the fact that the S&P 500 has dropped a little less than 2% within this week. This doesn't really say much, it was just a funny thing for me to note. So if we go back to the overview arc here, and if we just start with the pie chart, then you can see that the distribution of my portfolio is roughly the same since I haven't done any new investments. But what becomes much more interesting when we scroll to the top here, just so you have the performance of each individual stock in the portfolio, then the most noteworthy within this week is definitely Merck, since they have shown quite positive results from a new COVID pill, and naturally this has led to a lot of media attention, and the stock actually increased more than 9% the day this news item was released. If we then continue to my favorites tab, namely the dividends tab, well, now that September has ended, we can see that I have received more than $265 in September. This is due to the fact that Suncor Energy and Lockheed Martin had paid me a dividend as well. And here in October, you can see that I'm already on good track since I have received more than $50 in dividends. This is from LTC and Prudential Financials. And more importantly, if we look down here at the quarterly result, this nice and steady increase in my quarterly dividends. This is of course due to my heavy investments and due to the fact that I'm investing in companies which are continuously increasing their dividends. What really makes me happy is when I look at my year-to-date received, now I have surpassed the $3,000 mark, which I expected would happen sometime in October, and it has already happened here within the first week. So that means if I go to my goals tab, then I can cross out goal number 25 of $3,000 in yearly income. So this covered the update on the portfolio. If we then turn to the topic of asset management, and let me try to illustrate it through my portfolio. So if we scroll to the top here, once again, all the things that you see on the screen, meaning each individual company you're seeing here, is an asset, since I have invested capital into a lot of different companies and acquired stocks. A stock is an asset, and that can either go up and down in value. So asset management is when you take care of your asset, you're trying to manage it, meaning you're following news items that can potentially affect the price of the asset that you own. The best example within this week was definitely that news item relating Merck, where they have showed quite promising result for this COVID pill. Another form could have been that Carnival Corporation, for instance, were forced to shut down last year and are still not fully operating yet. Following these news items is something that can heavily affect the price of the stocks, as you can see here, since on one of them I'm down more than 40%, on Merck I'm on the opposite, up more than 6%. So this is the simplest way to illustrate what asset management is. Since I'm basing my decisions on whether to buy or to sell a stock based on the news that I see and based on my research that I do regarding the individual companies, that means that I'm deciding whether or not I want to buy or to sell, so effectively managing my assets. So in that sense, you can say I am my own asset manager or my own portfolio manager. And if you pay someone to do this for you, then they effectively become your asset manager or your portfolio manager or your financial advisor. What is then the distinction between asset management and wealth management? Well, wealth management actually consists of more, since a wealth management also takes into consideration your spendings and if you have any loans. So usually when somebody is managing your assets, they would like to know about your entire economy because they want to know your risk profile. Since if you need any of the money that you have invested into assets in the near future, then they would probably advise against taking a lot of risk. So that is why you very often see asset management and wealth management going hand in hand. So a very simple example from my channel between asset management and wealth management is when I made the video about how to make a budget. Well, that is actually wealth management, since that takes your spendings into considerations, so you know how much you can save and invest into assets. In economic terms, you would use the phrase of saying asset management is where you take care of your assets. When you use wealth management, well, then you also take your liabilities into considerations, just if you want to have those fancy words. A natural next question will then be, why do I feel the urge to explain asset management and wealth management? Well, if you haven't discovered it by now, this channel is all about financial independence, and the far easiest way to become financially independent is to own assets, since it is extremely hard to become financially independent if you only collect cash, especially if you, like me, are living in Denmark, where you have to pay a negative interest on your savings in the bank. And since we are on that topic, we saw that the Danish central bank this week announced that they are lowering the interest rate from minus 0.5 to minus 0.6. So this just really shows that you need to invest your money. I'm not saying that you have to invest them into stocks. I'm just investing them into stocks because that is, for me, the easiest way to deploy my capital, and I can scale it to the level which I would ever need, no matter how much capital I'm actually getting or collecting. But if you, for instance, know more about real estate or art or old used cards or coins or stamps or whatever, find something where you feel that you know enough to get your money to grow and invest it there. So that actually sums it up for yet another exciting week of the Lazy Money Game. So if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment below or send me an email if you prefer that. And if you enjoy content like this, then please consider leaving a like or subscribe to the channel. It really helps me out a lot. And until I see you next time, bye!